Until recently, it seemed that presidents felt constrained, in most cases, to try to obey the law, but at least to pretend that they were doing so. Unfortunately, we seem to have reached a tipping point with the Obama administration. This administration has been aggressive about asserting presidential power, doing so in lawless ways and in an unusually wide range of areas. Moreover, and this is really maybe the most unprecedented thing, to use a word from the title of my book, that the Obama administration has accomplished, that the president himself and his advisors seem to see this not as something to be ashamed of. We don't surreptitiously go around Congress. We don't surreptitiously violate the rule of law. But this is a desirable way of governing, something to brag about. We can't wait, says the president. We can't wait for Congress, so I'm just going to take my pen out and sign things. Obama behaves as if there is some inherent virtue in the president ignoring the Constitution's separation of powers and the laws that are on the statute books in favor of presidential decree and whim, as if promoting progressive political ends at the expense of the rule of law is a proper way to govern, not simply as a matter of last resort in an emergency, but as a matter of principle. When pressed for an explanation, his supporters claim that the fact that the Republicans in Congress are alleged to refuse to cooperate with the president's agenda and that Congress is supposedly dysfunctional somehow gives the president extra powers beyond those provided by the Constitution. But in fact, the Constitution doesn't contain implicitly or explicitly any Congress is a bunch of jerks, so the president gets more power clause. It just isn't there. I've looked several times. Let me run down some of the examples that law, I'm not going to summarize the whole book for you, but let me run down some of the examples that Lawless gives of the abusive exercise of presidential authority. Going to war in Libya, in blatant violation of the president's own promise, own statements before he was elected about when the president could go to war without congressional approval, and even more egregiously, in blatant violation of the War Powers Act. Appointing so-called czars to high-level government positions to evade constitutionally mandated confirmation hearings and also congressional oversight, modifying, delaying, and ignoring various provisions of the law he himself signed, the Affordable Care Act, in violation of the law itself, attacking and slandering private individuals for engaging in constitutionally protected speech, issuing draconian regulations for sexual assault on campus, not through formal regulation, but through an informal Dear Colleague letter that's not subject to any normal legal proceedings or review. Ignoring 100 years of advice from the Office of Legal Counsel and arguing that the D.C. delegate could be granted voting rights in Congress. Running General Motors from the White House without any hint of statutory authorization to do so, and then also rewriting the bankruptcy laws to favor unsecured creditors, notably the auto workers union, over the secure creditors who are supposed to get preference under the law. Imposing common core standards on the states via administrative feedback, and much more. That's just something of a laundry list, and there's even more in the book.